Yeah, just show you quickly. Harriet actually got me a load of cigar memorabilia. So today, Giles and I have been decorating the cigar room. So we're all up and looking good. So what we're going to be discussing is pressure testing my students in my lessons. Now, I don't hear of any other instructors doing it. They simply just ramble around and shoot pair after pair after pair, which doesn't really help the instructor understand what's going to go on when this person enters the competition. So what I decided to do was bring in pressurized situations to see if what I'm teaching them will hold firm in a lesson or will it crack. That's why with the majority of my students, and when and where I can, I like to shoot 100 target tournaments with them, because that's what I need to fix. A lot of the time you'll say to them, Jesus, you've never done that in a lesson before, because the referee and the scorecard makes them behave differently. So I needed to bring things into the lessons to help me understand and see what happens when they break. So for instance, is what I would get somebody on a lesson, they throw the cartridges in, they get ready, pull, bang, 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 shoot brilliantly. And then we'll head to a pressure test, and then all of a sudden the cartridges go the right way around. We know that makes them go faster, so they put them in the right way around, and then the big breath comes in. Now this is simply because they're trying harder. The problem with all of those scenarios is they're creating downtime in the mind for this little guy to say, you're going to miss this. So pressure tests for me are an invaluable part of my lessons with these guys. So I run probably 7 or 8 different pressure tests depending on what I'm working on with that student at that time, whether it's methods, pre-shot routines, etc, etc. So as I talk about this now, guys, please, if you have any questions on the pressure test, please put them below. I'm still going to take your questions on this subject. So one of my first pressure tests that I run, and one of my favorite pressure tests that I run, is on a compact layout at Kibworth. Targets are labelled A through F. A generally quite easy, F is always the hardest. Doesn't mean they get progressively harder, but they up and down the level of difficulty, with F always being the hardest target. What I will do, I'll stand them on the centre peg of the compact or fit-ass parkour, and I'll say to them, right now you are going A through F. You start with single A. If you hit it, you go to single B. If you hit it, you go to single C. You can catch the drift. But now, depending on the level they're at, or the majority of the time I won't give them any zeros. The first time you miss, you are back to A. Okay? So you could go kill A, kill B, kill C, D, miss F, and you're all the way back to A. Okay. How does that work? Because it pressurizes the situation. And what I will always say to them is, the longer it takes you to complete this pressure test, the harder this pressure test becomes, because you start to try harder. When else does that happen to us on a Sunday at 100 burn registered? Now, if that person is a bit of a better shot and we're going to try and take that on to the next level, I do the same thing on the same birds, but in pairs with a moving on one. So your first pair will be AB, your second pair will be BC, your third pair will be CD, fourth pair D, E. So you're always moving on one, and your final pair will be F, A. Once again, depending on your level, will be dependent on how many misses I give you. If you're in C class, I might say, right, on your third miss, you're back to A. If you're a double A, or I'm really trying to put some drive into you, it might be your immediate first miss that you're back to A. Again, it's really going to create a scenario where you don't want to go back to A, and I'm trying to implement those pressurized situations that you will get on a Sunday at your competition, regardless of the country that you are in. Now, the next pressure test is very tough. Okay, Ian, we're coming to this one next. So, the next pressure test is if you have if we really are, say we're not so much struggling with the pressure of a comp, but struggling with the pressure of an audience, then what I do is I always arrange for somebody else to join you for the last bit of your lesson. This is what Ian is talking about here. And what I do, I stand you side by side, 2-3 meters apart. Then what we do from there is the pressure test A again. So Ian will go single A, Stamati single A, Ian single B, Stamati single B, and the same rules apply. When you miss, you go back to A. So at some point you could be on A and Stamati could be on E. You're 5 targets behind. Stamati misses F, he goes back to A, you hit B, you're 1 in front, and it's amazing. I'd love for Ian to actually comment for me here on the pressure that he felt during that drill, because him and Stamati went probably 5 or 6 rounds before we got a winner. So Ian, if you could just kindly comment below for me and let me know how you felt in that pressurized situation. I'm just crossing them off, guys. Yeah, Donna went at it as well. Yeah, Deb, that's exactly how people feel on a Sunday. That's exactly why we do it. Okay, then another scenario. Say we're working on a hold point and our kill point execution. So we're going through, we learnt new hold points, we've learnt new kill points, and understanding the pressure of that situation. So what I do is what I call the 5-step drill. So say for instance we've got a long left to right crosser, say 35 yards, straight left to right crosser. I would stand way out to the right with the student, so the target is semi-quartering in at an angle. I will just draw it for you now. So we would be faced with this scenario, okay? This will be stand 1. So, what I would say to the student, okay, when you're ready, we will call pull for that target with your hold point and your kill point fixed in your head. And every time you break that target, you take 5 steps across. And if you break it from here, you take 5 steps across. And if you break it from here, we take 5 steps across. Now the same scenario comes in. The moment you miss, you go back 5 steps and you're now back to here. And if you double miss, you're back to here. And then if we go back 5 steps, and we have to get all the way across to a preconceived set winning area. Now, why do I do that drill? Because every time you move from here to here, your kill point, which would probably be here from station 1, when we get over here, your kill point will be here. So not only does your kill point move every single position, then your hold point has to move every single position. We may be using swing through from here into pull away from here, back into swing through from here. So it's a total reset, as Peter's just said, and another great pressure test. All about trying to get across that layout with as few cartridges as possible. And what I might make you do is do it again to see if we can do it in less cartridges. Then what I would do is do it with the same exercise again, but with a target from this side, work in the opposite direction, and then you know what's coming. We do the double drill. A on report B, moving 5 steps every time. So your hold points are moving for both, your kill points are moving for both, your methods are moving for both, and your lead are moving for both. Once you can master that drill, you are flying through the ranks, and competition shooting would be easy. That is my 5-step pressure test. I then have a very, very simple for beginners, a hold point pressure test. A kill point pressure test. So what I will make them do is show them a target. I've got an illuminous orange stake at Kibworth. Anybody that shot with me can vouch for that orange stake. I will make you take a shot. When you kill that shot, I will walk into the field, mark your kill point with the illuminous orange stake, and then every time you kill that bird for the next 4 or 5 shots, every time you kill it, you come down and make sure you're within that stake. So, now it's a lot harder than skeet, Michael, a lot further away than skeet. That's my hold point pressure test. Can you come down to the same marker, or do you come down, the marker's over here? That's going to create a miss at some point in a competition. That is my hold point pressure test and kill point pressure test. I then have my the grid, which I'm not going to go into. The grid video comes out this week. Then I have my fix it drill, which you've all seen on YouTube. Same 6 targets. I don't tell you what's coming, but once you've had it, you can't have it again. What I'm trying to do there is see how well you get out of a mistake. So you've got A, B, C, D, E, and F. You've got to figure out which is the hardest bird there, because that's the one you've got to cover. So you're covering F, you call pull, B goes. The correct method for B might be pull away, but as you're coming from F, you end up behind it. Well, now you've got to shoot swing through. On the spot, you've got to understand that swing through increases your gun speed, that reduces your lead, take the shot. But now you won't get B again. So now you're holding for F, and F comes, whack, you take that shot. Now you don't need to cover F because F's not coming again. So you cover C, and C, and then A comes. And what I'm trying to do is make you make mistakes and fix them. The only bird you know which is coming is the last one, because the other 5 have already fell. And then we go back round. And we don't stop that drill until you hit all 6. Again, dependent on the level you are. I'm just trying to teach you the different drill scenarios that you can go away and practice with your training. So that is what I call my fix-it pressure test. Can you not know what's coming, recreate the right method or the wrong method, and get away with it to make that shot happen? You'd be surprised how often you make bad moves in competitions, and you miss the target because you don't know how to get away with it. This teaches you how to get those 2 or 3 birds in a comp that you make a bad move on. That can make a huge difference to yours finish on that day. Fix it drill. Then I set my students a challenge, generally when they're not with me, but they want to pressurize their training. They don't just want to go to Kibworth, E.J. Churchill's, Thimbleby, wherever you may be going, and just fire. So we pressurize the testing. So what I would say to them is, how many birds are you going to shoot today? And which ground are you going to? So I would say to them, okay, right, I know that ground very well. And at your level, I would expect you round there to shoot 44 out of 50. Now, the deal we make is, the moment you miss your 7th target, you leave that shooting ground, after you've paid, of course. But that is now how you go to a tournament on a Sunday. You have a preconceived number in your head. Oh my God, I really want to shoot 80. Oh no, I'm 2 away. God damn, I'm 6 away. Oh no, I'm 12 away. I've only got 8 to play with. Oh no, I've missed another couple. And that's what I'm trying to recreate in your training. So we give you a set number. So you're going to stand 1 and straight it. We're flying. If you're going to stand 1 and miss 4, well, now you've got to make the whole of the way around that course with only missing 2 more. Because the moment you drop off that 44, home time. That's a very serious pressure test on your own personal training. So that's something difficult to do, and actually make yourself get in the car. But that's what happens to people on Sundays. They get preconceived ideas and they lose that will to fight the numerical target that they've given themselves. This teaches you to stay in the game. You might be able to stay in the game till the very last stand, but that's just gained you a lot of targets that you would have just gave up on Sunday. Oh, I'm not going to win today. Wah, 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 wah. That teaches you to stay in the moment, because when you hit that target, it's home time. Okay, my last one that I do with people is simply skins. You really need 3 or more people to play it. So we just play for £1 a station in what we do. So 12 stations at Kibworth, we all put £12 in, and it's called skins. So you walk on station 1, it costs everybody £1 to compete. And whoever wins that station wins the £3 or £4, depending on how many of you are shooting. So say for instance, I go in, I straight the peg, the next 3 guys shoot 7 out of 8, I win that station. Then £3 of mine can't be taken away, or £4. We move to the next station, I go in, I shoot 6 out of 8, another 2 guys straight it. Now if 2 guys straight it, the rules are 1 tie, all tie. So if you straight it, if everybody shoots 7 and nobody wins, all ties move on. So that £4 move on to the next station becomes worth £8. If 2 people tie, 1 tie, all tie, that £8 go to the next station, and that station's worth 12. And whoever wins one of the stations takes the whole pot, and then you go back to your £1. All of those will highly advance you in your personal training. If you are not getting things like this from your instructor, you are getting poor instruction and not understanding what happens or how to fix things that break. As I've said before, simply walking around the shooting ground, shooting repetitive pairs under no pressure really isn't being learnt anything. You're getting quick fix instruction. So that is my ramble on pressure tests. I will now take your questions on pressure tests, if you guys have any. So please feel free to question me on any of that. Whew. I will be playing this back, recording it and posting it on YouTube, so there will be access to see it there again as well. But apart from that, do we have any questions on all of that rambling? yeah, that it definitely makes the skins more interesting. Trust me, I would rather play with people that can't shoot. The grid is a pressure test, but I don't want to spoil the video that's coming out tomorrow. So I don't want to go and put that on because that video is coming out tomorrow. So that's the reason I've not gone too much into that. But yeah, it's always good to play with all people of similar ability, otherwise they don't want to play again. But there's actually quite a lot of information I've just given you there. So does anybody have any questions? Is anybody that's taken parts? Yeah, you can definitely play skins on a comp, mate, 100%. Does anybody that's actually taken part in any of my pressure tests have anything to add to what I've just said? I designed them. Does anybody that's taken part in them, please come live? I'd love for you to come live and tell me how you actually felt during the pressure test. So please do tell me how you felt during those pressure tests. Anybody? No. You could do it on that, James. You certainly could. Yeah, 100%. As long as the ground's okay, you could do it on that. Okay, there's Greg's just come up with a pressure test that I designed for Greg and Greg alone. So Greg was struggling in competition with people watching him. Let's see if Greg will come live. There she is.
How are we doing?
All right, buddy, you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good.
So, because I'm going to place this video on YouTube, it's just nice to have some more interaction with this. So, when Greg came for one of his lessons with his partner, what was it you were struggling with, Greg? Explain.
I just felt nervous whenever I was being watched, really. Don't know why it just came on all of a sudden when I first started shooting, to be honest. I didn't really pay attention. Then as I found myself, I suppose, getting more competitive. I felt pressures that I hadn't before, and I happened to mention to you about them.
Well, I think what happens is when you go out there at the beginning, you've got no conceived idea, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Then when you hit in a few, you know people aren't watching you.
Yeah.
And then something happens, you either place an event, you're in a magazine, or you're in a Facebook picture, and all of a sudden you believe that, Jesus Christ, they're all watching me.
I had all three happen quite quickly, and it definitely changed without me realising. It changed how I felt quite a lot. Yeah. And so I remember we did one course. I did one layout with you because we tried a new timing system.
Yeah.
And then you basically said, well, how can I put pressure on? And I said, well, unless you're going to bet me, but you're going to beat me anyway. And you went, no, we'll go live. We're going live.
What I did with Greg, I pretty much told everybody, get ready, we'll be going live shortly. And I think we did 30 minutes of your lesson live with 80 to 100 people watching you on your lesson.
Yeah.
The exact thing you didn't want to happen.
Yeah, no, definitely, yeah.
What was the rewards of it? How did you feel during it? how did you feel after it? What difference did it make? Because I know it made a difference when you went back and read the comments of how nice people were.
Yeah, no, that really shocked me. Some of the comments was like, you look really smooth, if I could shoot like that. It was quite, it was really good. It was good for my confidence, which I was suffering with at the time. When I first started, obviously, I think you actually commented on it that I was shaking like a shitting dog. But once that stopped, I kind of got into the rhythm, and I kind of forgot that you was filming, to be honest. I forgot that there was eyes on me, and that's when I realised, I can do this. Do you know what I mean? You just got to concentrate for them, them 4 pairs and move on. Do you know what I mean?
I think what being either human beings or mainly British, we assume that everybody behind us is talking negative.
Yeah, criticising or
well, when you're me, that generally does happen.
That's just us.
but we think that whether we straight to the peg or we hit 1 out of 10, we simply believe people behind us are picking us apart.
Yeah.
And by going live, you actually found out that actually there was compliments, not derogatory comments. And how did it feel the next time you went shooting? Did it have an impact?
Definitely, it had an impact about a month to 2 months later when I shot the British. That was when that was my first major. I went the first day, shot with some friends. To be honest, didn't really pay much attention to what was going on. I had Richard Folds in my group, which was phenomenal to watch him shoot like a robot. Shot that, came away, and it was like, oh, you've been invited back tomorrow. I was like, oh, brilliant. Again, went there, felt the pressure in the morning, remembered our lesson, managed to get into the final, and then actually had my first shoot off, which I'm not going to lie, even with that pressure test then I was a bit squeaky bum time, but yeah, no, it was good. It definitely, I remember thinking back to the stuff that you told me, like, it's just another 4 pairs or whatever, and it did help. I just kept replaying that in my head, and it just kept me sane basically whilst I was standing there shooting.
No, I appreciate you coming on. I hope other people that took the pressure test with me will come on like Greg has and just explain the impact of it. So cheers for coming on, mate. And,
I think it's fine, mate. I think it's something that's important for everyone, because I know everybody that I shoot with, the lads from the sponsor group, right to my friends who are what I'd say, they're not competition shooters. Everybody feels pressure. So anything to help with that, or even help manage it, I think is brilliant. So I look forward to trying some of the other methods with some of the other boys. That would be good.
All right, mate.
Spot on.
Be good, pal.
Cheers, mate. Take care.
No, mate.
Bye.
So that's one pressure test that we've seen the example of. Anybody else that's taken one want to come live and have a discussion on how they've done? Numbers are crazy today, guys. Thank you very much. Rich has done the pressure test from A to B and to F. An example of pressure: how can I deal with the fear of not repeating good result from before, i.e. hit a pair and miss a pair? That's not actually a pressure test, that's a pre-shot routine. That's the little man on your shoulder that's giving you grief. So that's not actually a pressure test as such. It's a pre-shot routine that we need to create to fill those voids. Shoot-offs are more difficult to practice, James, because they mean something. If you get these pressure tests handed down and get those into place, a shoot-off is just a higher version of those, and the more you do of them, the better you'll get at handling them. Pre-shot routine comes more into place in a shoot-off, and then the pressure test scenarios start to take place, and you're simply worrying only about the next X amount of target. That's where that comes into play. You wouldn't believe it's 30 minutes of sheer pressure test, something that I do every single day. I don't speak Spanish, but I will say hello. Mr. Skillen?
Hi Ben, how you doing?
Yeah, very well.
Yeah, I was just going to talk through that pressure test that I said that I liked, where you had me at Tidworth and just going along the sporting layout and just taking a step every time.
5 steps.
5 steps one. I think for me, when I was doing that one, and I got to the point where I missed one and having to go back. It's then when you get to that same spot again, not making that same mistake.
And I think the worst thing on that pressure test is a double bounce.
Yeah.
When you miss, you go back to where you hit it, you miss again, it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
And you can fast go from halfway back to the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely, because then you start really sort of falling apart, trying too hard to get back up, and the pressure really just starts to mount. And I think when I was doing it, you were back at the van, and I thought, oh, Ben's not watching me here, and my concentration dropped. And then I just heard you bellow, it's a MIDI, and I was like, oh, okay, I know what I'm doing wrong here, because I'm actually giving it way too much.
When you just said then, I miss one, I miss another one, I try too hard. When you find that scenario happens all the time on
a competition at the weekend.
That's exactly what that pressure test is designed for, to recreate the aggravation. Now, what's very, very important with all of these pressure tests, I must stress, is that the targets are suitable. That target that we were talking about wasn't easy, but it wasn't unhittable.
Yeah.
On the A through F drill, if you've got 6 targets that are simply unhittable, well, then the pressure test stops being important. They've got to be hard enough to miss, but easy enough to straight.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to complete it. Otherwise, the whole pressure test simply is it's not a pressure test, because you pretty much know you're not going to do it. So the targets that you set in these pressure tests are very important.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the reset, when you take that step, because as you said, your hold point, your kill point, where you're positioning, all has to move for each step you take. And when you get back to that point where you've gone back, it's sort of, right, what did I do wrong when I was here last time? What do I have to change to make sure I get it right this time?
And that's what a lot of people don't do on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I always tell the story at Grange Farm when there was a big battue on Station 12, and one of my students came up to me and went, Jesus, Ben, that battue on Station 12, I never hit it. I was like, oh, really? What did you give it? And he went, 4 feet. And I said, what, 4 times?
Yeah.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah.
And just talking, I'm like, well, that's what you've got to, exactly what you said. You've got to go back. Right, what did I do? And what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Because if you do what you did, you're going back again.
Yeah.
And you're going to keep bouncing around. And it's a very, very, I think it's one of the most infuriating drills.
Yeah. As
you found out.
Yeah. But really enjoyed it. Yeah.
All right, mate. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Yep. Good to see you.
Take care, mate. Bye-bye. You're going to have to leave my things back there. It's the same thing. You're always trying to, exactly what I said to people in a competition. Sometimes you just don't do what you've done. If you miss a clay 4 times in 4 different places, then there's nothing more you could have done. So if I walk into a station and that's the clay, let's just say on this diagram travelling this way, and I go miss, 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 miss. There is no more I could have done. I tried 4 different things, but if I go miss, 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 well, that's Einstein's rule of insanity. You did the same thing 4 times and expected a different outcome. Sometimes you just got to keep trying till you find it. Sometimes you got to understand that you might not find it, and that's when you go to a training ground and try and find it. That was the pressure test, Scott, correct. So, has anybody else had any form of pressure test with me that wants to come and talk about it? Does anybody have any more questions on shooting in general? Or are we up to scratch and done? Okay. It's a long one tonight, and seriously high viewers. So if that is all the questions on the pressure test, we will be